Joining us this morning from Dakar, Senegal is Wale Ojewale. He's an expert on conflicts, organized crime and security governance in West and Central Africa. Good morning and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we've been talking about the unfortunate situation happening in Senegal. You're there on ground. Can you give us a picture of it? What exactly is going on and what the situation is?
Yes, thank you so much. Earlier in the week, I think on Sunday, the opposition parties vowed that they are going to continue the protest, which they have scheduled for the next 3 days. And that has actually started yesterday, and then hoping that it's going to last till Wednesday. But basically, most activities are either in comatose or paralyzed. Most banks don't open. Some shopping malls don't open. Schools, for instance, didn't open yesterday. And then we got a news that they are going to open this morning. And most likely some of those schools are going to close very early, probably by midday. So I think generally there is a political climate of uncertainty. In the sense that opposition parties, the youth in their groups are vowed to continue to mount their support for Usman Sonko and also demanding for the popular hashtag in terms of Free Senegal. So I would say basically that a lot of political uncertainty really. And it has to do with the upcoming election in the sense that we don't know who is going to contest or who is contesting barely 8 months to the election.
Yeah, all right, but is there ways that you think that this could have been avoided? We're hearing about more than a dozen deaths so far. What would you say could have been done to avoid this? Should Usman Sonko have asked for calm, among his supporters, or should have, President Macky Sall been able to speak with the country and address the people before all of this, crisis broke out?
I think the both scenarios that you have pointed are very, very significant now. In terms of dousing detention, if the rhetorics can be also tamed on the part of Usman Sonko. And it's very important for the president to also come out plainly to address the people through any alternative platform that you might want to use, at least to reach out to the people and douse detention. But much more than that is to look at the political ecology of what is going on around West Africa, particularly in the last 1 year or two, Mali, Guinea-Bissau, Burkina Faso, Senegal. To say at this point, I think it's important that the international community also lend their voice, and beyond lending their voice, lending their action actually. It's not enough for the African Union to be issuing press release. It's not enough for ECOWAS to be issuing press release. We want to see them to be on the ground. I basically expect that by this time, probably Ivorian president, Ghanaian president, Nigeria president must have made a statement and also send a delegation. It's not enough to be issuing issuing statement. That's what we have seen over the years. I think that is a critical action that is missing now. Then Senegal is a very strategic democracy in Africa. In West Africa sub-region. And this turmoil, I think it's absolutely unnecessary. So beyond the president talking, beyond Usman Sonko talking to his people, I think the third layer that is presently missing is actual action on the part of international community, particularly ECOWAS and African Union. I know they have issued press statements, but I think that is not enough.
You've raised a very valid point there. They have really indeed issued press statement. We're seeing here that even the Senegalese branch of Amnesty International has called on authorities to investigate the deaths of the protesters, and they have said that public force should only be used when necessary and in a proportionate manner. The Human Rights Organization said in a tweet while also condemning the internet courts. Talk to us about the internet courts, and how it's sort of affected this whole protest going on, as well as the lives and the safety of Senegalese citizens.
I think the people have found a way around the internet court, and it has not undermined the protest in any way because people are still communicating. So it is not really a new development. People have switched up to alternative means of staying connected, and people are still posting on Facebook, posting on Twitter. And then I think the diaspora community are also pushing the message in terms of generating that traffic for free Senegal. and people are also demonstrating on the ground. So I do not necessarily think the internet court, although it's a democratic right, it's not supposed to take place in the first place, but I don't think it has made any significant impact in driving the protest in the last few days. What is also very, very important is the fact that almost every junction that you go here, as you see that it appears to be that the government is trying to cage or limit the protest, even on the physical ground. Every junction you see a gendarmerie, at least 2, 3, 4. And even when I move around basically in town yesterday, I saw the military putting up their armored car at Wakam, which is not too far from where I'm speaking to you presently. So you see that process of trying to probably limit the protest within the virtual space and also in the physical space as well.
Okay, I'd also like you to talk to us about President Macky Sall's time in office. Unfortunately, we cannot categorically say if he will or will not run for office in the forthcoming elections. But I'd like us to talk about his time in office and what the conditions of living are for the people of Senegal currently. Because we want to see if there are other underlying factors that are sort of fueling the protest.
Yeah. What's his performance rating being like?
I think it depends on who you are speaking to in terms of what the performance rate, the popularity of a president looks like. But when you talk generally to people in urban center, basically some Senegalese, they say, oh, his term is enough. I spoke to people who said he has actually performed very well. And then I've spoken to people who are not necessarily gauging him in terms of what he has done. But their overarching concern is the fact that the president should not seek another term. And there's an historical dimension to this. When he came in 2012, there was no term limit, so to speak. So it was in 2016 that the term limit, constitutional term limit, actually came into being. And to be fair to the president, up until now, he has not made any public statement that he's probably going to seek election. But I think there are valid innuendos here and there that people have gathered to say probably he's going to seek re-election. But up until now, there's no public statement. I recall the popular interview was the one he granted maybe some years back when the newsman asked him whether he's going to contest or not, and he made a statement that technically he could contest, but he didn't say he was going to contest because he felt the constitutional amendment should not take what the lawyers, the legal experts call retroactive effect. But for me as an observer, this is a democracy. The Senegalese have the right to determine who's going to govern them. And then there is a need for urgent interpretation of that constitutional amendment. And to the extent to which that takes place, probably things are going to return back to normalcy. But like I said, having been an observer of what is happening in the West Africa in the recent time, I think ECOWAS and AU need to really put their feet on the ground and then shape the direction of what all this political development is going to take in the sub-region, particularly if we have taken lessons in 2-3 recent experiences of democratic erosion in the recent time.
All right. We, of course, will continue to monitor this situation and, of course, continue to have conversations as things develop. Wale Ojewale, thank you so much for your time this morning, and thanks for speaking with us. We'll bring you.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.